Are you sitting comfortably? Then let us begin. The ballroom, gloriously decked out in the finest tinsel and foil angels, was full of people. But Nell felt lonely. She stumbled around the dance floor, struggling to remember the square dancing lessons from her childhood. 1 square left, 2 squares up. Really, it was useless. Her partner, some faceless unit from the Orange Army, kept her at arm's length. Gun's length, actually. Did these infantrymen ever put their rifles down? Ugh, why were men so weak? Hanging around in packs, always on the prowl for new conquests, they'd charge in with a brief burst of weapon spray, then it was all over. Even if you did get attached to one, it wouldn't be long before he'd come home with a faraway look in his eyes and telltale tank tracks on his shirt collar. The band's song drew to a close. Nell smiled wanly at her partner and casually moved for the door. This really wasn't her territory. Suddenly, she felt a light touch on her arm. "May I have this dance?" roared a voice close to her ear. Nell swung around. "Oh, Commander Ubel!" "If you turn me down, then I will be mortified," smiled the imposing German commander, his hilarious comedy accent making her tingle. "You know, as in mortar!" They laughed. When was the last time Nell had laughed so freely? Probably when her young charge Andy had expertly used his bombers to blow 24 men into bloody chunks. But that was a sort of maniacal, screeching laugh. This was softer, easier, more natural. Of course," stuttered Nell, and put her hand into Ubel's. After only a few seconds of whirling around the dance floor, Ubel pulled Nell close. "Blizzard isn't my only sea or power," he whispered. "In fact, I suppose you're thinking, that's just a sniper rifle in my..." "So, what do you think?" asked Toad, grinning. Toadette twizzled her pigtail, giggled, and ran her fingertips over the chassis. It was a big purple-headed beast of a machine, the sleekest, fastest cart ever made. Looking around the pits, she could see why Toad was grinning. Cooper was tinkering with what looked like the shell of a dead friend, on wheels. Mario and Luigi were arguing about where the overflow pipe should go. Donkey Kong was sitting in a tree trunk. Yes, this was Toad's day. Toadette gazed up at him, feeling nothing but love for this stumpy little trouserless mushroom. He grinned at her. She loved to see him happy. She loved him. Of course, body odor had always been a problem with men made entirely of fungus. But Toad always came to her pre-washed, and on special days, wrapped in cling film. "This is hot stuff!" cooed Toadette, stroking Toad's... Was it his head or a hat? "I just know you're going to win! The cup's as good as yours, Mushy." Toad grinned. "I was thinking, ours," he said, grinning. "So, why don't you join me for the race?" In a flash, she experienced a black and white flashback scene. The horrific accident that she had yet to tell Toad about, the unbearable heat of the flames, her best friend, dead beside her. The horror of it. A beautiful young mushroom, sliced in two and roasted. "Toadette! Toadette!" She came to. Toad was gripping her hand. A worried grin edged across his face. She focused, her heart still pounding in her chest. She'd have to go through with it. The doctors had told her she had to confront this condition, this wretched autoinfernophobia. She'd do it. "Of course," she whispered. "Let's get out there and make them eat mushroom." Toad grinned with joy, his soul on fire with delight. "Then grab a hold of this gear stick and..." "What's this, hair boy?" screamed Nintendo's executive vice president of sales and marketing, using the volume he usually reserved for demolishing buildings and yelling swear words at God. He was brandishing a piece of paper in his stake-like fist. Miyamoto's heart sank. "Mr. Fils-Aime," began Miyamoto. "That's Fils-Aime!" corrected the executive vice president of sales and marketing, his voice knocking a small bird off a branch in Greenland, his eyes doing the thing that until this moment had only been a terrifying rumour. "Mr. Fils-Aime," began Miyamoto. "Want 3/4 of an hour off for Christmas, do you?" asked Fils-Aime bellowingly. "Think again, Wigsy! I've lined you up for interviews from here until when Super Mario 128's done." "But that's 6 years of began Miyamoto. Fils-Aime lunged. Miyamoto watched as the man's arm, an arm like a cow, drew back. He knew what was coming. He still remembered Reggie's new catchphrase echoing around the office for the first time 3 weeks before. "I'm about punching face! I'm about punching face!" But today, Fils-Aime wasn't about punching face. Instinctively, Miyamoto's banjo training took over. His plucking arm flicked up, catching Fils-Aime's iron fist just millimeters from contact. Their eyes locked. There was a silence, except for the howling wind that could be heard outside, in the desolate wastes that surrounded the offices. Neither man moved. Slowly, imperceptibly at first, a tear formed in the executive vice left eye of sales and marketing. Fils-Aime's fist unraveled, and he gently, yet tentatively, brushed his sausage-like fingers against Miyamoto's cheek. He extended his... "Oh, Muffy," said Jethro, running his swollen farmer's fingers through the hair of his loved one, which was elegantly hairsprayed into the shape of 6 curly helpings of I can't believe it's not butter. "I've loved you ever since I found and read your secret diary and realized you were my easiest shot at marriage." Muffy sighed and smiled. Through the window, she could see the snow falling outside, gently wrapping homeless Murray, lying face up in the horse trough and making a sound like a zombie lifting weights in a blanket of purest white. It was a beautiful day. This surprise lunch with Jethro, the first time he'd cooked her a steaming bowl of his onion soup since 3 hours ago, was the icing on the cake. Or, more accurately, the soup. The layer of icing on top was Jethro's special Christmas touch. Still smiling, Muffy plunged her spoon into a steaming broth. She was surprised when it hit something solid. Reaching into the bowl, she found the reason. A beautiful diamond ring! Looking closer, she found a message etched on the inside of the ring. For the most attainable girl in Forget-Me-Not Valley. Muffy looked up to find Jethro's eyes as full of hope as his mouth was full of vegetable. "Oh, Jethro!" screamed Muffy. "Of course I'll marry you, you mute backward bumpkin of love!" Jethro took the ring and nervously slipped it over her finger, which was still moist from the starter of onion balls with onion dip earlier. Suddenly, the front door suddenly flew open. Flakes of snow drifted around the imposing figure filling the door frame. "Morpha!" "Muku, Muku!" gasped Muffy. No! We're over! Why can't you accept it? How can I live with someone with fur on their... Hey there everybody, if you enjoyed this video, why not drop a like my way, and if you want to see more of what I do, then click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell for all updates. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at MikeTheVA1.